Welcome to JTV News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ino Soman, and here's a look at what's coming up in this newscast. Beachgoers narrowly escape a speedboat as it ran straight onto the shore of King Garden Bay Beach. Erica Creaky crowned Miss BVI 2016. Public concern ensues as Beanie Man performs in BVI while infected with Zika.
2 days ago, I come down with the Zika virus thing. I was in Bermuda. I almost died.
Vibe and Showtime show unity bidding band member Alton Bertie farewell. Guest speaker at Emancipation Service encourages Afrocentric interpretation of the Bible.
You don't need to argue whether or not there is a black Messiah. Scripture's already defined the fact that he is not white.
And exclusive interviews with Sizzla about his background and Beanie Man about his Zika illness.
It's a lover for the music, my mom. They like music, you know, the black culture, Caribbean people, they're very historical, cultural, indigenous people about their music and praising God Almighty Selassie. So we all grew up, it's a part of our culture, daily activity.
In news from the Caribbean, Cuban scientists have created varieties of crops that will be able to withstand the effects of climate change. And the slaughter of an endangered sea turtle in St. Lucia reignites calls for protection for endangered species. In our Medical Minute segment, we have tips for a better night's sleep. Many persons struggle to get at least 7 hours of shut-eye every night, and it might be because of what doctors call your sleep hygiene. Dr. Geronimo Jones will have that report, and I'll be back with the news and more in just a moment.
They ask us how we do it, how we outrun the world. They ask us, how does it feel to fly? How do we dive headfirst into the deep? And emerge victorious. They ask us if we're afraid, if we're nervous, or if we ever feel lonely, so far away from home. But the truth is, home is always right here with us. Get ready to witness the magic of the Olympic Games like never before.
And now the news. A man who was wanted for murder in the USVI has been apprehended and sent back to the neighboring territory after he was wounded in a shooting on Tortola during which the Premier's Cadillac Escalade was damaged. Premier Dr. D. Yolanda Smith was not in the vehicle at the time of the shooting that led to the vehicle accident near Treasure Isle in Road Town. The driver of a Suzuki reportedly tried to elude gunmen on a scooter, forcing the Premier's driver and vehicle to careen off the highway and crash into a fence. Police said the suspect, 32-year-old Tahira Charles, was taken to People's Hospital after he was shot. Charles provided a fake name to police, but it was later discovered that he was wanted in the USVI for the murder of 22-year-old Kasim Daniel. Premier Smith and his wife were at the Miss British Virgin Islands pageant during the incident. Premier Smith informed the concerned public via Facebook that he and his driver were safe. The Cadillac Escalade was purchased recently by government for approximately $90,000. And no one was hurt when beachgoers narrowly escaped a speedboat as it ran straight onto the shore of King Garden Bay Beach. The incident happened on Wednesday during the popular beach invasion event where families gathered for food, music, powerboat racing, and other activities. Around 6:20 in the afternoon, beachgoers noticed the powerboat with the name Hurricane Crew speeding towards the beach. Those seated in the area managed to escape just seconds before the powerboat sped onto the shore, crushing several beach chairs and damaging umbrellas in its path. Some eyewitnesses told JTV News they expected the boat to turn before approaching the shore. Onlookers rushed to the area to ensure that no one was caught under the boat as it came to a stop. Fortunately, there were no injuries during the incident that left many asking what happened to cause the boat to speed onto the beach. Onlookers speculated that the boat encountered various mechanical problems, but about 5 minutes later, a few men pushed the boat back into the water and it took off. Erica Creaky was crowned the Miss British Virgin Islands 2016 on Sunday, July 31st at this year's memorable Miss BVI pageant held at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Road Town. Nia Douglas has more.
The Miss BVI competition, headed by chairperson Janet Bryn for the first time, saw many different changes in format, prizes, and overall presentation, resulting in a quality pageant filled with various entertainment from the likes of Gen Y Factor winner Dernal Sanderson, Aaron the Jedi, and internationally known Maxi Priest. With esteemed judges selected for their experience in pageantry and similar industries, the 4 contestants Reba Thomas, Mindy Paul, Erica Creaky, and Lakeisha Claxton were held to a caliber like never before. The contestants started off the night with an introduction and BVI promotional speech.
Tonight, I'm charged with why choose the British Virgin Islands? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I stand before you ready to defend the strength of the British Virgin Islands, and I object to any misleading statements that intend to confuse individuals to the charm of a nation that is a gem in the crown. Consider the evidence. Exhibit 1. Travel and Leisure magazine ranks the British Virgin Islands as the #1 tourist destination in the Caribbean. Now that's something to boast about. No, wouldn't you like to be where the climate is hot? 365 days a year? Girdled with white sandy beaches, prolific green mountains, colorful culture, and embraced by the warmth of our people. A paradise nestled in the heart of our Caribbean. 60 islands, rocks, and keys. Nature's little secret. From the sweet melodies of our fungi band to the finger-licking local cuisines of diverse influences.
For the rest of the night, the 4 young women competed against each other for the best cultural wear, swimwear, talent, and evening wear, ending with a challenging question and answer segment where each contestant was asked 2 questions. This year, the crowd was wowed with each talent, which featured performances including giant hula hoops and swinging from chandeliers.
I can give you all you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye. The turning table. The turning table.
After showcasing their glittering evening wear, the 4 contestants geared up for the most challenging and impromptu part of the competition, the question and answer segment. Apart from being asked about their platforms and how they plan to carry it out, each contestant was asked a special question from one of the judges.
If crowned Miss British Virgin Islands 2016, you will not only reign over the 2016 festivities, but you become the ambassador for the BVI for a year. How will you use this role to bring awareness to your chosen platform?
In your opinion, what would you say is your culture, and how, especially for your annual Emancipation Festival, can you display your culture?
What would you say was your most valuable lesson, and what advice would you give to encourage other young Virgin Islanders to pursue the crown?
So, once you win and you are there where you need to be, what message would you like to give to inspire all of those within the sound of your voice to work for peace?
Picturesque beaches and year-round warm weather is what travel writers around the world say about the BVI. As our ambassador, how will you promote the BVI to encourage those you come in contact with to visit?
Following answers to those tough questions, the night came to a close with Erica Cricky dominating almost every segment, taking home most photogenic, most poised, best BVI promotion, best cultural wear, best swimwear, best talent, and best evening wear, and then being crowned Miss British Virgin Islands 2016.
Miss British Virgin Islands 2016, with the entire universe in her hands tonight, goes to none other than your very own Erica Cricky!
From your wake up this morning, you's a winner, yeah.
DJ Khaled! Yeah.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building.
After being crowned, Cricky told JTV News that she intends to carry out her platform and begin work as soon as possible.
My first ambassadorial step, having my workshop where I incorporate everyone, we learn about BVI culture. That's my first workshop, learning why we need to sustain our culture.
Nia Douglas reporting for JTV News.
Residents of the BVI were shocked upon learning that renowned dancehall artist Beenie Man was infected with the Zika virus during his performance at the Festival Village in Road Town, following a statement from the Ministry of Health on July 26 stating that there are no confirmed cases of Zika in the BVI. Zika-infected Beenie Man performed in the territory just 3 days later on the 29th of July. During his performance, the veteran Jamaican artist did not show physical signs of illness, but he told the crowd that he started to experience symptoms of the virus while he was performing in Bermuda earlier that week. Beenie Man, after experiencing these symptoms, then went back to Jamaica for treatment before traveling to the BVI.
2 days ago, I come down with the Zika virus thing. I was in Bermuda. I almost died. But I went back to Jamaica, go check my Rasta doctor, get myself lined up, and then check my medical doctor, get myself lined up, because you know why you have to fit for come here, sir.
Beenie Man was scheduled to perform in Canada following his appearance in the BVI, but he was denied a Canadian visa. Popular international news outlets such as Rolling Stone and The Root attribute his visa rejection to him contracting Zika, citing an Instagram post in which he is pictured being treated in the hospital and announcing his denial of entry into Canada. Dr. Ronald Georges, a medical officer in the Ministry of Health, told BVI Platinum News that they were unaware of Beenie Man's situation. Georges said, quote, "As far as I'm aware, there was no advanced notification to the Ministry of Health. Usually, if there is a concern or advanced notification, then immigration will discuss with the port health officer, who will then call the Ministry of Health. Occasionally, we will receive calls directly. We did not receive any calls in this case." And still to come on JTV News, a reggae night performance to remember. We have exclusive interviews with international reggae artist Sizzla, and Beenie Man speaks about his Zika illness.
At about 60%, but from the people that need a performance, it's for me to give them, because I'm coming from another place where I was at 45 and I never did that well.
And he was a lover for the music. My mom, they like music, you know, the black culture, Caribbean people, they're very historical, cultural, indigenous people about their music and praising God Almighty Selassie. So we all grew up, it's a part of our culture, daily activity.
And after years, Vibe and Showtime performed together. Plus, Emancipation Service highlights biblical heritage of people of African descent.
One who looks like you, one who looks like me, that came from the black Jewish nation of Judah. You don't need to argue whether or not there is a black Messiah. Scripture's already defined the fact that he is not white.
But first, we have other news making headlines in the Caribbean.
Life is like a mountain you must climb. Life is like a treasure you must find. A baby learning how to talk. With just one step begins to walk. One step at a time will lead you to paradise. Your dreams are there to find. One step to paradise.
Welcome to the JTV News Caribbean News Report. More than 10 telecommunication providers in the Caribbean have signed a voluntary code of practice on safeguarding the open internet. According to the Antigua Observer, the code was signed on Tuesday, August 2nd, during the 32nd Annual Conference and Trade Exhibition called Canto. Among those signing the code were Digicel operations in St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, the British Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, and Grenada. All countries where Cable and Wireless has operations in the region, the Telem Group in St. Martin, and Innovative in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The 34-member Canto, previously called the Caribbean Association of National Telecommunication Organizations, is a key regional trade association through which telecommunication and ICT organizations in the Caribbean region exchange information and expertise. The issue of the indiscriminate slaughter of endangered turtles is a growing concern in St. Lucia. Officials recently reported the slaying of a nesting hawksbill turtle. The latest incident has reignited calls for environmental compassion and protection for the critically endangered species. More in this report from HTS News Force.
An act like this shows why environmentalists say humans are the greatest threat to turtles. An endangered hawksbill turtle sliced open, its eggs and internal organs removed. Environmentalists say the finding, made by NCA workers at the VG Beach in Castries on Wednesday, is becoming all too common. Fisheries biologist Shanna Emanuel says the situation is particularly distressing as the hawksbill is one of the world's most endangered creatures.
While we see them often in St. Lucia, and by often I mean every year we normally see hawksbills, they are considered to be critically endangered according to the last estimates.
The fisheries biologist says this rogue act flies in the face of laws intended to protect the magnificent turtles. The hawksbill is renowned for its colorful shell and is highly regarded as one of the most beautiful of the sea turtles. Emmanuel is making a special public appeal for compassion for the turtle, whose population has declined by more than 80% in the last century.
We're asking for the public on a whole to be vigilant in reporting these activities. If you see anything suspicious, if you hear that there's sea turtle meat for sale, we know that we have a series of high-level events coming up very soon, and we know that oftentimes people do use these events to sell turtle meat and other illegal seafoods, and so we just ask that the public themselves be vigilant. The heritage of turtles nesting on our beaches belongs to all St. Lucians and not just those who are alive now, but we hope to have turtles for all future generations to be able to enjoy.
Despite its endangered status, hawksbills are often killed for their meat, which is considered a delicacy, and their eggs thought to be a natural aphrodisiac. Authorities are appealing for public help to protect the turtles from poachers and ensure that they can peacefully come ashore to lay their eggs. An individual can be fined $5,000 if convicted of killing a turtle during the closed season.
Cuban scientists have created varieties of crops that will be able to withstand the effects of climate change. This news comes as the UN warns that climate change threatens agriculture and food security in Latin America and the Caribbean due to an increase of drought and excessive rains. According to CaribbeanNewsService.com, the Cuban news agency reports that professionals from the National Research Institute of Tropical Viandas have genetically engineered varieties of cassava, sweet potato, yams, and bananas to withstand climate change. Director of the Institute, Sergio Rodriguez Morales, says the clones require less water and are more resistant to pests. According to Morales, climate variations greatly affect the growth of vegetables, adding that 1 Celsius degree of the maximum average temperature causes a reduction of 10% in agricultural yields. He also revealed that among the clones developed, the short stature plantain is able to withstand high winds and also produces higher yields than traditional varieties of plants. He said between 35,000 to 53,000 seedlings have been designed in the biofactory to meet the needs of agricultural production and in accordance with the peculiarities of each region. Immigration officers from CARICOM countries recently received training on issues related to the CARICOM single market and economy and the free movement of skilled CARICOM nationals. The training is geared at ensuring that immigration officers are equipped to carry out their duties related to the free movement of persons and understand their impact as frontline officials. More in this report from HTS News Force.
The program is aimed at better educating officers on the free movement of people, articulated in the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas establishing CARICOM. This comes against the backdrop of various CARICOM nationals being denied entry into member states, an occurrence that appears to have been making its way into the public domain more frequently in the past few years. As such, the workshop is aimed at preventing such occurrences.
As immigration officers, we need to educate our staff as to how to deal with CARICOM national as they enter our ports. Lots of time they have issues that would come up, and as CARICOM nationals, we need to know how to deal with these persons. So the workshop today will help the officers to understand their role as immigration officers and to basically help them into how their understanding of how to deal with these persons.
The workshop is organized by CARICOM's CSME unit and facilitated by Dr. Olivia Smith, Deputy Program Manager of Free Movement and Labor at the Secretariat. Dr. Smith says the organization wants to ensure that the free movement of labor regime works as it should. Critical to its success is the role that immigration plays.
The heads of government have instructed again that there's a need for us to revigorate and re-engineer the whole free movement process and deepen the single market. And that is understood. We are aware of the Brexit situation and the implications of that, the winds of globalization which have not been blowing favorably for the Caribbean, and the protracted economic crisis that has been going on. These things indicate very strongly to us that more now than ever there's need for us to make the single market and economy work. And the immigration officer is the first person that we see, and they will impact the experience of anybody coming and determine, as I said earlier, they're wanting to stay, they're wanting to come back, or they're wanting to invest in your country. So it's very, very important that the officers understand how the administrative processes, the policies, and the legal regimes work.
Dr. Smith hopes that as the move towards the free movement of people and labor progresses, the sharing of knowledge will go a long way in filling gaps and help the organization improve the processes related to strengthening the single market and ensuring all CARICOM nationals can access the rights granted through the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. Miguel Favre, HTS News Force.
And Jamaica has announced it will pay off its Petrocarib oil debts to Venezuela with food, medication, and fertilizers instead of cash, at a time when Venezuela is suffering from acute shortages of basic products amid a major economic and political crisis, with few signs that things will get better in the near or medium term. According to Caribbean News Now, Jamaica's government, in making the announcement, stated that the transfers will take place in the last quarter of this year and amounts to $4 million. And coming up next on JTV News, Vibe and Showtime show unity bidding band member Alton Bertie farewell. Guest speaker at Emancipation Service encourages Afrocentric interpretation of the Bible. And exclusive interviews with Sizzla about his background and Beanie Man about his Zika illness.
To see it on your smartphone or to see it on your tablet.
I think that would be ideal, simply because my lifestyle is very on the go.
I'm on the move. I might be at work. I may have some time that I can actually view it, but I'm not close to a television.
You just can't be everywhere you need to be all the time, especially if you work.
So when we're out sailing on the water, something that we'll be connected and watching the event live. So it'll be great.
Welcome back to JTV News. After 3 years of rivalry, Showtime Band and Vibe came together on August Monday for Rise and Shine Tramp in Road Town. The two bands were previously one before some members split from Showtime Band to form VI Showtime and then later changed their name to Vibe, becoming a major competitor and contender for Road March each year. Now, following years of rivalry and heated competition for the Road March title, the two bands were seen sharing the same truck during the Rise and Shine Tramp early Monday morning in Road Town. Eustace Boss Freeman of Showtime and Raul Jugosprov of Vibe told JTV News that the two bands planned this coming together to express their farewells to band member Alton Bertie. It's Alton's last year, Boss told JTV News, before explaining that their display of unity was a planned farewell gift. Jugu also noted that the two bands really wanted to show unity instead of speaking about it. Vibe also expressed on Facebook gratitude for being able to perform with Showtime. Vibe said big up to Alton and Boss for rocking with us in the Juve. Juve was epic. Guest speaker at this year's Emancipation Service, Dr. Richard McCrary, says through knowledge, he now appreciates the true biblical heritage of the black race. Speaking in a true spirit of remembering emancipation as enslaved Africans, Dr. McCrary of Illinois tied worship and the plantation together by speaking about the need to acknowledge the Bible's African heritage, which the plantation era and colonization have destroyed.
The missing page of biblical history is the absence and the lack of knowledge of the Hebrew heritage of black Africa. Why don't we know our black biblical heritage, our divine identity? Why don't we know that? Why do we not understand our divine identity? Well, it is the psychological conditioning of slavery, along with colonial and alien missionary agents, obliterating what knowledge we do have of the ancient past.
He also insisted that the Christian Messiah, Jesus Christ, was of the black race.
The one we call Jesus, the Son of God, Yeshua HaMashiach. One who looks like you, one who looks like me, that came from the black Jewish nation of Judah. You don't need to argue whether or not there is a black Messiah. Scripture's already defined the fact that he is not white. So we don't need that argument. Simply read Matthew 1. Begin there, look at Judah. His son Perez, by his daughter-in-law Tamar, the Hamite. Go to Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, all of these Hamites are descendants of Ham, meaning they black.
Pastor Melvin Turnbull, in awe of Macquarie's calling on the community to embrace its biblical heritage as African descendants, tasked the members of the service to mourn with him in a moment of silence the loss and hardships of their African ancestors.
We're going to pause for just a moment, because I think what happens is that over the years, Dr. Premier, one of the problems we have as black folk is that we don't mourn enough. I want us to pause in a moment of silence and think about the millions of our ancestors crossing the Atlantic. Think about the millions. This is not 6 million. This is over 130 plus millions.
The Emancipation Service, which is usually held at the Sunday morning well, was held this year in the Sir Rupert Briarcliff Hall due to rainy weather. This year's annual August Monday Parade received mixed reactions from residents. Aside from the late start, most people complained that this year's parade lacked vibrant colors, beautiful costumes, and the huge troops the parade has become known for over the years. While many welcomed the parade, they admitted that it was not what it used to be. There were 42 entries this year, a much smaller number from approximately 60 to 100 entries in the past. However, many onlookers told JTV that they enjoyed the parade and were happy to see the large turnout. The August Monday Parade started at the Queen Elizabeth II Park and ended at the Rita Francis Festival in Road Town.
Parade came off very well. We know that this was a area of concern for the committee as well as the public, but we're very happy that we have some persons who enjoy festival, enjoy being a part of the parade, and they came out in numbers and they made it happen. And we want to encourage the members of the public who didn't participate this year to make your plans early and join the emancipation celebrations and in particular the parade.
We try our best and making an appeal again to persons who want to get involved in festival to help us to improve it, because I know there are a lot of ideas, there's a lot of criticism, some very constructive ones, and it's a volunteering organization. So we want persons to come on, get on the various committees and help us to plan the festivities to make sure that we all enjoy it and that we understand that the reason for festivities and make sure that cultural aspect always remains in our festival.
The Eastern Long Look Parade, held on Wednesday, August 3rd, also saw reduced participation but got a boost of excitement from Delta Petroleum and One Mart Superstore, as well as a few new entries. The event, which started around 5 p.m., included entries from the August Monday Parade in Road Town, plus a few additional entries focusing on emancipation and the East End Long Look community. Sizzla and Beanie Man gave the crowd at the Rita Francis Festival reggae night performances to remember. The international reggae artists spoke to JTV after their performances about the BVI audience and about Beanie Man's Zika illness. Nia Douglas has this report.
Following high-energy performances, JTV got a chance to chat with the two artists. Beanie Man told JTV about his sickness and explained that although his energy was low, he still managed to warm up the crowd.
At about 60%, but from the people that need a performance, it's for me to give them, because I'm coming from another place where I was at 45 and I never did that well, but you know, after went home back and got to my doctors and them fix me up with some things, I try my best, you know.
Make love to me, Sim Simmer. Don't hold up, I'll tell myself I don't wanna to ever love me.
Well, the crowd is always like it is in Tatola. That's the warm them up, you know? Yeah.
Can I see everybody use anybody do this, please? Come on. Pa 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 pa. Me now here. Pa 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 pa. Hush. Pa 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 pa. Pa 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 pa. Don't do that. They were them dollar, that's a pretty full of witty, them that get him up, they put them on the bookshelf, yeah. And I'm not the world committee, and they sit them and get him up. Got them back, that's a full of witty, them that they put them on the bookshelf, yeah.
He also explained in his words what emancipation is.
Whenever I have enough energy to give them everything. So it's not a farmer emancipation, because you have to emancipate yourself. And anytime you have a free mind at all times, so that's how it goes.
Sizzla shared with JTV's Sophie B a little something about his background.
Tell us about your beginnings as an artist.
Well, personally, I grew up in the community of Augustown, easterly of Kingston, St. Andrew, a very beautiful community. I was taught by my parents, the Rastafarian community, and on a whole, you know, a family is the basic unit of society. You take a community to grow a child. So a very beautiful community. I went to the Augustown Primary School. I went to the New Providence Primary School. I grew up in the garage, and my father studied mechanic, and he was a lover for the music. My mom, they like music, you know, the black culture, Caribbean people, they're very historical, cultural, indigenous people about their music and praising God Almighty Selassie. So we all grew up, it's a part of our culture, daily activity, you know what I mean? So you got the reggae music, you got the ska, you got all those music booming in your ears. Yeah. So you'll have to just be a part of something that's really part of your indigenous culture. So from there, and then you got the talent shows, because we can use the music to make money. So while going to school, after we're coming from like school, we will be like going to some little community stage shows, some talent stage shows, and from there we began working hard till we began venturing into studios.
And the human reasoning join mixed with people would say Vince the Lord.
He then gave insight about his Judgment Yard.
And your community is very dear to you. Tell us about Judgment Yard.
Well, Judgment Yard basically is my father's garage, and because I got the break in the music, I said, Papa, you know, we're going to turn it in the musical office. We build studios, we build sound system, and that is where I chill basically and get all my works done. And it's a very beautiful community, a beautiful spot, and all because of the effort of the music. We managed to structure the Sizzla Youth Foundation, where we got like a 92 days of festivities going on in the community from the 1st of June to the 31st of August.
Showtime Band and Final Phase also performed on the Friday night. Reporting for JTV News, I'm Nia Douglas.
And next in Medical Minute, a Mayo Clinic sleep specialist shares some simple ways to help you get a good night's rest.
Perhaps a schedule that doesn't fluctuate greatly, but always is allowing at least 7 hours of sleep opportunity.
Dr. Geronimo Jones is next with that report. Stay tuned.
Eureka, located in the British Virgin Islands. Come, discover Eureka Medical Clinic, which provides the most complete medical services in the Virgin Islands. Our state-of-the-art clinic offers the highest quality in specialty care, cardiology, gastroenterology, orthopedics, and spinal surgery. We also offer specialty care in obstetrics and gynecology, as well as dermatology. Eureka Medical Clinic offers diagnostic procedures such as x-rays, mammograms, CAT scans, and all forms of ultrasound exams. Now, for the first time in the BVI, Eureka offers MRI scanning too. With colonoscopy and gastroscopy, we check the intestines and stomach for polyps, colon cancer, and ulcers too. Located at Geneva Place in the heart of Road Town, Eureka Medical Clinic with Medicare Pharmacy and Labs offers you a comprehensive medical facility all under one roof. So for high-quality medical services and convenience, there's no need to look any further. Eureka! You found it.
If you're struggling to get at least 7 hours of shut-eye every night, it might be because of what's called your sleep hygiene. That's the term doctors use for a series of habits that influence sleep. In this Mayo Clinic Minute, Jeff Olson talks to Dr. Eric Olson, a Mayo Clinic sleep specialist, about some simple ways you can improve your sleep hygiene.
They say timing is everything, and it's definitely true with sleep.
That scheduling is really important.
Mayo Clinic sleep specialist Dr. Eric Olson suggests making bedtime a fairly firm time.
Perhaps a schedule that doesn't fluctuate greatly, but always is allowing at least 7 hours of sleep opportunity. Recognizing there may be a little bit of play between weekdays and weekends.
Stick to a schedule and address your stress by getting out in front of it. If you usually go to bed around 10 o'clock, try scheduling in 30 minutes of worry time, maybe at 6:30, so there's less on your mind later when your head hits the pillow. Also, pass on that nightcap.
It may help you get to sleep, but as the night evolves, it may not promote good sleep.
And once you're in bed, don't let technology be your nightlight.
Light is used by our brain as an alerting signal, so it doesn't make sense to get that stimulus and then try to fall asleep.
Take away the technology, add a comfortable mattress and room temperature, and you should be able to go from awake to Z's. For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Jeff Olson.
Before we go, a brief look at the main headlines. Beachgoers narrowly escape a speedboat as it ran straight onto the shore of King Garden Bay Beach. Erica Creaky crowned Miss BVI 2016. Public concern ensues as Beanie Man performs in BVI while infected with Zika. Vibe and Showtime show unity bidding band member Alton Bertie farewell. Guest speaker at Emancipation Service encourages Afrocentric interpretation of the Bible. And exclusive interviews with Sizzla about his background and Beanie Man about his Zika illness. In news from the Caribbean, Cuban scientists have created varieties of crops that will be able to withstand the effects of climate change. And the slaughter of an endangered sea turtle in St. Lucia reignites calls for protection for endangered species. Just a reminder that you can find all the news stories featured in this newscast as well as previous newscasts on our website, jtvlive.net. Additional information and news updates can be found on our Facebook page, facebook.com/jtv55. If you haven't already, please visit our Facebook page and let us know that you like us. Of course, all our news features and press conferences, as well as JTV's television programs, can be found on our JTV News YouTube channel. You can subscribe for daily uploads. We welcome your questions and comments. You can email us at jtvnews@hotmail.com. For the entire news team, I'm Ino Soman. Thank you for watching.